Prentice, Chad Sanderson, Michael Olinda, and Lance Lampies in parts. Tonight we have members of the racing program who say you need a non-binding guide. See, I don't know that, so they don't use usable and never make it for people not speak unless are recognized by the chair. All these sound phones is being by state. Thank you. Will now need to be. We're going to review a possible approval draft. 4 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that the minutes be approved as.
We have a motion to go forward. You approve the minutes. Method.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just, sorry, just, I think you should know for the record that. I think he said he was here.
Oh, I did, excuse me. Thank you. Yes, you are correct. Nothing does. So, you are correct. Thank you. Back to the motion again. Welcome to the second of the minutes. The allowed minutes. Doesn't. Review the governance. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Everything has to do with it. Ready? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Yes, have it, so pass. Right, public comments, and we'll make the gallery, and we'll bring our public comments tonight. We have time for the chairman comments, and I do have plenty to do, so there's no very long to your back. Review such an possible recommendation on the board on 1226 section. Somebody knows that a recommendation for appointment to the racing board of the commission. We need rule only. You have Steve said that on this board, I think it was, well, Steve was not easy to do about it. The time that costs these. So, I actually spoke with Steve, twice, and, yes, I'll rewrite from the information, but on the sheet, Steve and I was Steve Racing representative, previously served as all the racing district from 2015 to 2019. And later represented District 3, racing does provide 2020 to 2022. During the time of local government, we serve on numerous committee boards, including the Golf Course Committee, Public Safety and Licensing Committee, and the Racing Blue Aqua Society Board of Directors. Really goal is the number seeing valuable knowledge of infrastructure, community development, and local governance. We look forward to applying experience and dedication to the community, and will be honored to serve on the Racing Board Partnership.
I would be motion to approve this position.
Motion was the board, second by Supervisor Mitchell to approve the minute. Seven. You can govern all those in favor, say aye. Committee, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Yes, that's okay. Very exciting. Review session and possible action. We should prepare for that. So I believe we're going to say that. The board meeting every.
Yes, it's trips to the dump fair. We wouldn't have purchased it for we purchased the equipment. So we had the equipment, but saw it at auction. We get that money back at auction. That's why we took some. With this dump fair, we decided to go with this route for what we use. And we're really good for the CDL trade. Area we both lately. CDL that year, we get trained up for winter time. Who's gonna help you that? You have anything to add?
The reason why we're looking for specific center is scrap, first of all, and also solid mobile boy, because we really like to learn. We're gonna move her into the back of the river, it's difficult to staff the boy trailer, so we're looking for something that isn't small. So this is something that there's not a high cost for it. Maybe equipment.
I did notice that the description that the, I guess, explain to me what that actually means, being transferred, because it's either in the budget or it's not. So where is this money being transferred?
So in our capital budget, there's a called the sale of so along with that auction, that money that's generated is into a capital account. And then that capital account balance grows until it is full. So if you look at the account balance for each equipment, it's 120,000 to advance state for 55,000 on that 126. The capital account is all for
We able to capital, which is used for
it gets funded that way, so I don't know that someone not account, that just is part of that. So that will be on capital, but it's really for that the money that fall away with all this. Or, yeah.
it's just confusing to me a little bit. Because generally speaking, usually, I do not think that that you consider right into this capital, you know, what's it writing that off over a period of time, that's the longevity of the funds. I just get that, it's always surprising to me, see all the way it's just a long time since I got that.
And it's some of the back to some audits that never done audit.
That is probably the best of what's been.
And I do see it as more of a secret here, in that you really don't sense how up the time. That's how I see it. That I wouldn't really answer the question of it. Can be capitalized or not, but we figure it's capital versus these, so it makes sense. Are there any other uses for this one? Yeah.
Everything that we can, or things that fall on time, so it's like our table of that. So, if there's something that failed, or, safety, something that was needed, barricades, something that we put in, which is that we need to get. It's not significant on a month.
And the reason I asked is that I think it's the council dollars, they're watchful, I mean, especially the supervisor board here, thank you for it, it's about the purchases that are not involved. So I understand what the numbers, there's, realize the needs for advance. So I think we're all just making sure that we're not going back and what our class gave for this, over the last few months. Any questions?
I think it's fair. These two answer questions, so some following a conversation, we're calling it capital, but we're not actually. Perfect. I think it's a semantics thing, I guess. And then, is it possible in the future, because I'm new and I don't know what all this stuff is, it looks like, is it possible to include a spec sheet when we bought it, which may also include a picture, and just so, picture of what this is, but as we go about it, but we do this side time, it was well, so we're there. Sure, but it's just hasn't been purchased yet, so it will get it. You can, make motion to the resolution.
Motion, what's that? One, this is a resolution, I'm saying, or the motion is. Then. Right, all those, so you can notice all those in favor, say aye. Committee, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Say no. Seven, review second possible action. overreach is rated about 6. Where that's over, one of the things that are being discussed. What it was, goal was, it's what I'll see. So I believe that it's, now that all of those in the goal that you have. Eight grades, right?
Correct, and that's something that we need, what are we gonna do next time? What are the three goals that we for, and what are the examples of that's the average age grade. Certainly, have big grade in the other, 6, or 10, the problem's still gonna be 3. Ideally, we would leave those for 4 grade. And that's part of the goal we got. And the actions were Supervisor Roth and I decided to go with more of a support advisor to this highway goal and goal for that. And so that's what this is. Look, we went through it, Joel went through it, and Syrian for that. But this that, and certainly, would it be supported in 5? This may not be the step we would go with, what this is what our goal is. This is what we like. Stay on track here.
Yeah, and everything is on one time. This and remains. These are goals. Obviously, what we presented is that inside stuff in it. So we're trying to do our buildings. Video, divide that as much as possible. And honestly, I want everyone in the committee to understand what moving. But you don't have a lot of time to affect. Either way, this allows it a lot of time. It's needed a little bit more. Like I said, I do want to thank the there's more important and no I think all equally this. They are being one understand this quite a bit. We started with 45 years. That's what we're having seen all from is that, something right into 25 year fence, and it's not really 12 year because you will need with the following the 25 year plan, truly get back up to 25 year. And that's what necessity is. What is we understand that in the short term, that's we're trying to get back to what is more reasonable. Well, recap how we started, how we got there. Okay.
No, I had no anything you want to do on this, basically what they've seen already, correct?
It's not the map, it's the outside that. It's just, last time, there was very minor change. Restore of the public roads, it's pretty easily rated as 50%. So, 30% of how quickly they're bringing back condition, 30% of the check. Basically, but very minor changes,
A little bit off. So, one more. It's very important to me that everyone can go back and I have to say, I made sure that I did not track with the here other than I wanted to set a goal. It is critical for me that staff develops. And that's why I think it's such a good job. Really need something that the experts in this field develops. So I feel that I was working through the guardrails with experience and move us in the direction. So it makes sense. But the work was done on this side that I really try to keep myself out. So for that work.
I would say that your guidance and direction of the side, that is kind of keys. The focus of being storefront, right? How do you want to win doing the storefront? And I would say that the student, when he is back, present the budget when it comes down, that anything involved with roads, we have language that speak directly to how we get to six on counties. In other words, if you have a road that's rated at some number, returns that now the rating on the slope is some different. One speaking of us having no volume. This because we know we're this. So I just, again, I think this is excellent. Again, encourage that we take a step forward. We're going to today with that. But if there's been a individual step.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yes, sure. I really like where we're going with this, and I can see all the staff that couldn't see that. I feel like my position is really the first time I can actually look at the assets that we're responsible for, so that we can turn that into budget decisions. I like the reading of 6 a lot, maybe for the purposes of bringing this to a full board and define what the piece of readings are and what 6 means. If it's 1 people inclination, that you want to a 5, that's difficult. 5 is 1 step up from failing, basically. 1 to 4 are failing. So 6 is good. I think it's reasonable and not super ambitious. But I think maybe that concept is or still like other things as part of the goal besides just the piece of 6 to develop this more. I think there's a lot from it. The useful life for all the assets. We have all these assets in the county, those are one of them. They have all the useful life, we're going to say 25 years, that's fine. So if we know all of those that are there, we know the useful life. I guess my first priority here is basically trying to set the funding level and the pace. And then this is all good stuff to actually execute once you have that higher level. So I asked them, maybe staff of if we go, we have X number of roads and we cost $1 million a mile, then we know we funded whatever it is, 6 million a year, basically, or 6 miles and it costs $1 million a mile. And then this framework we decide how we're going to spend that set that we're going to use this. And that comes from the useful life. Mayor Rosenbaum says it's just a map of the map. You need people only want to fund it at 2.5 or 2.7 or whatever. I think we're not going to get anywhere if we don't get everyone on the same page that we have this number of roads that are lifetime average 25 years in this case. And if you send 25 to be aggressive, even if we back off to a 30 for purposes of funding and pacing, that doesn't have to change this. We still don't have this for doing actual work.
I guess those are all holding on. So the other goal is going to be nice to see besides. What these useful like, and we've got the deer here, which is good, but at some point, sometimes we shouldn't be seeing a whole lot of roads in the nineties anymore, or older, unless they're concrete. And I like the traffic counts a lot, but that's part of how things go overall. So I guess those are my comments. This is really great, but I guess I'm curious to know, and we talked about resolutions before as we would have fit in the process, but how do we get this message to the whole board? Well, if we got this many votes, they're going to last this long. We need to be at least on a pace of doing 6 a year. And this is the cost of that phase. And then this is how we execute. I feel like at the board level, we're just going to the execution part. We're just, okay, these are the 5 roads we're going to do with the 2.7 million. I think we need to kind of back up and say this should be an afterthought in the budget process. I think this is one of the most foundational responsibilities that the company has. I think roads, infrastructure, and law enforcement. They should be asked about us.
Thank you for that. And one I'd like to do the motion that I put forward. The goal is to send someone, was provide everything. And also put together a narrative. Look at it's done, how we help that. How this. So if there's about. If we see it, so we can get it. Yeah, see the virus. See what it is for. Then they're planning to do it. That good.
So we can't grab one question. We don't here to redesign. What is our average user rating now? So we know where we are now, and how to get to the 6.
It would actually be really high. Show that problem. Go back and do it. When you go to that, we already have. The competition, but it's not just as simple as. It's not just saying you have to focus on states. Because that might already tell us it's a 6, but there's way to get 10 with whatever else. That's just moving in one direction. So.
Right, it has to be kind of mild, good, you can't see who they are, because that, you could have a really short setting that's really follow it. I get whatever methodology we use, our goal of 6 is what I was thinking. Where we are now. Maybe we're going, where are we now? We have 3. That might get someone from the document plan, right?
We're right around 5. Okay, right, I don't know what that. I can say that we are right around 5. And it takes a lot. Just to grade that 21. It takes a lot of things. So, we got a lot of what we had in the, got that here, the local handle for that, years that by state mandate, and we remember that in the Wayflow program that was contact. And so they keep track of what the average page you have to cover it yourself, but each road segment, you have that piece already. And what Joe did probably last year, just a sum and then divided by how many segments it was to get that.
It was actually my action. It's like it's very well.
Decision that was, I think if it's by segment, that's fine, as long as we're reasonably, so what's that, that's not gonna be down to the.
The segments aren't the thing
size.
Yeah, but it's broken up sometimes by where the next intersection is, sometimes it's 200 feet off of an intersection, so it's, and then when you have a roundabout, that's broken up into segments. So it varies based upon those. I think breaking it up by mile would be the best option for us, and it would stick with how we usually plan for road projects as well.
Well, it's all like that, and I actually do the budget for savings. Not necessarily about 500 feet, it's 1,000 feet. So it's not one-for-one, where we set up. If we could add something, a big sign, go coach, not just add the big sign. For that would be helpful.
Yeah. I was just curious about how often the patient is supposed to be. It's like the years, years of moving. And it's, I'm not saying you speak first years, because if you set the future, they're almost like determining what success, what this looks like in success. You can pick up how this project increases the pace rate and decreases it. Last thing.
So it's gonna move, it really slowly, more like the major. And then we have a 5.5. You get to a 6. At this rate, it's probably a 10-year. You're also going that same rate. How fast are the other roads here? It's not, when you get your opinion, there's no roads down anymore. And so, if you have, it's kind of like, fish stacked in a lake, it's usually stacked up inside. You might have an effort to do that, might be all nature, but you might have only a handful of that that are going to be 60 inches. You might have 3 inches. And so, it goes faster than they have to do. But as they all start getting bigger, it's going to be the max. So we're going to get a lot of threes, a lot of twos. And just catching up on those threes is very, very difficult to do. So you're hoping that sacrifice doesn't all deteriorate at the same time. So hopefully it's more of a linear. If that makes sense.
You guys are kind of fighting, definitely fighting up.
I make sure your life is turned out. I think everyone will make sure lives are.
Well, I just want to say thank you for appreciate it.
And one kind of follow that, so there's different goals, it's not necessarily the goals of creating going on yet. Sometimes, I believe that it's ever going, or I would be maintained was pretty 7 years, won't let me even let a 3-call partner go along. And it sends money. But it says that if they come and just have people that will they're all. They didn't know that.
You're right, this is wrong. You have enough for a little bit, 3 to some years. And why did I sit there? We have to look at that and see. Like how we have. Why? That he said that very road and more travel and all we get on now, you need to be able to more next to be tired.
Couple, well, one quick comment on fourth page or where you have, County Road G between 3 Mile and South Vincennes. If you can update that, it actually extends another block to, South Creek Road, goes south up Main Yeah, North Street, go north. Equipment line ends.
The way that it's written is based upon how the serve rating, how they title it.
Oh,
So it's like so many feet beyond that roadway, but that's the intersection that it gives us to that.
Yeah.
So some of them may not line up to where that point is. Like,
it's covered.
correct, it is covered. So like, for instance, the project on Highway C, that's the highway. It goes beyond fairway, but it's so many feet. So we give it the title of Ohio fairway just because. It's plus the one. The full on that.
And I guess my other part is some of the question, some of the, I guess, is a concrete big road, obviously it's like something more expensive, to go concrete versus asphalt. But if you have existing concrete, is in bad shape, does it make sense to do some service with some type of concrete, get it up, and then go over? I mean, but then again, you're not getting the light you get.
Are you speaking if there's on the some services with the asphalt overlay? We want it, it's not really that asphalt, that one, we will, asphalt.
Well, I guess my main question is, during the actually structure, you typically, where, you know, potentially save some dollars over asphalt, they're not need to go out there and it's.
So when we would do that, we're to the issue of obviously doing it. We're building off the issue. We're doing that, nobody is. For that. What I would suggest you're gonna go remove concrete into a more permanent that you have to remove that. Otherwise, you're gonna get, and so you don't have to, but what you're gonna get then is. Asphalt is, right up to the asphalt. And so instead of being, we'll see a 1-year lifespan, we'll probably post the 12-year lifespan. What you have is, you'll have 30 homes driving around. You look at Minnesota on the west side of the state, over on west side of the over in Norway. That's exactly what you have, so that is full 36. DOT shifted 36 over to where it is right now. They did a quick fix and put asphalt over that. And it looks good as far as cosmetics. If you were to go on a piece of that, it's still probably pretty. But the ride itself is terrible. We've got very coffee while riding up. And so when we came and did that, we retake that. I believe in 2017, we had a retake. We moved this road. We did what they call stretch coat. So basically, put a stretch coat on. We took off the pavement, put a stretch coat on top of that existing, and repave that, and that buys you more time. Again, if you're gonna have that 20 years, no. But to remove that asphalt and then to go remove that concrete, that becomes very costly. Now, that's what we call that reconstruction. That reconstruction is of that. We know we've done in my time. Before that, it's talking $1 million a mile, right? Because they're improving the whole thing. So.
We're going to start for.
Thank you. I was actually just going to support something that Supervisor Price said earlier about giving us a current number, because I do know that when this gets presented to the county board of supervisors, we say that the goal is 6. Someone is going to ask the question, what are we running? And we should just go in here to be able to give that answer before it ever gets asked. Because what help us also helps build the credibility of the information we're sharing in order to try and gain buy-in and support all was involved, so all I had to do was support that.
Mr. Chairman, do we have any roads that have sewer or water, state road? How do we handle that? Because in the city of Burlington, those are usually reconstructed, so when we're doing roads that are 100 years old now, the water sewer utility costs that. Or are we up this alley or just holding that line?
So before, it's, I'm gonna get an example of our, I would see what we're seeing right now. So when, is in Ohio. This is in the east of 31. There's a lot of very old. We sent out a notice to the utility. And the AT&T spectrum, we're seeing water, and we have not flooding or city. We usually try to get those entity to work on those utilities. Sometimes it has to be a relocation. If it's highway C is utility relocation, moving the gas and the electric and the fiber optic outside. Sometimes they are underneath the road, especially with storm. Bring water, paper. And so that gives them time if they want to improve their infrastructure, they go in there and improve the infrastructure. If they're choosing not to, they certainly don't have to. Sometimes it's good infrastructure, they'll already do. Other times they might be old infrastructure and they have not have funding to replace that. And in that case, it is what it is. We try to get at to the mentality of the utility to get a relocated work. But then you have to disperse and then become there. Because of that, actually, I would see east of 31 to that 30 year project. Because the utility weren't able to get in there. We're going to break. And so we're out there to be paid down with it. That the utility go and then the following year.
That's a good answer. I think we get into this plan or policy in general. I don't know if we'll usually hear that, but the other line is that's also out there in the budget says, so they would probably need to know about this at least a year more in advance as part of their, their annual bonding for the utility, right? Water, sewer utility, ready to go at the same time.
Correct. And usually, smaller projects, we try to get those designs out. That usually comes out with it. When we start notified and direct getting done, usually right around 60% of the time. We assess that design that work and something to do with 30, 60, and 90. And that 60% design is the really start. And the surveying that's starting to happen. And so bigger project you can hit that several years ago. Smaller project you might have up to, well, you might not have, but one is huge project.
So highway C movement to 31, that's actually why we held off on that is the village of Mount Pleasant has added water main area. So they'll be doing that water main. But they had to wait for their money to come in for that to be done. So we're gonna do this patch where we're gonna mill off, we're gonna put the gate main down. And then later on we'll look. But we usually send these plans out in advance to what we reach out to the municipality that has.
Okay, so I only want to be like this, I don't know, full cycle. If that's our best practice, is where the road contract is basically a 2-year contract, year one is basically design work, and like we see the lines. There's 2 years the actual even work, I think that's good. I don't know if this whole board knows that or.
I don't know.
Right now, we have 27. we really should do engineering design work for 20 years.
Correct, it doesn't depend on the design. What Shannon said over there, from you. And that's slated, I believe it's 2031 right now. For the construction. And so we're already working on it. And so that, on the bigger projects, we try to get as much more as possible because schedule is so key, trying to stay on that schedule. And I can tell you this, if you're gonna get behind that schedule, it's gonna be because that is by far the number one culprit.
Lastly, I would say recently, the price of asphalt has gone up a lot as well, price since they started with so in the city growers and a bit of how you said asphalt was not that much more expensive. Very confusing. Asphalt is. I don't personally don't love driving experience on asphalt, but in some places it does last long. Driving experience.
We just depend on funding too, because what that does give us they give us software to protect what's based on our ADT and our life of that roadway and the size of the roadway, piece of it, what we should be seeing for that roadway. So sometimes based on the funding mechanism that going through it, they'll decipher. Yes. So like how do you see Ohio the fairway? They had asked us if we'd be okay with
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move, to make a motion here that we approve this highway road plan with our goal of reaching pacer rating of 6.
Put a motion by Supervisor Warren to, we'll say that, the, 100-year plan, or communicates rating 6, second by Supervisor First.
That's Supervisor Woodchuck.
Excuse me, look on there, walk on the section. So with that, you governance, all the favors say aye. Committee, all the favors say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Guys have it. Thank you, everyone who's involved. This is the meeting. Joe and Greg meeting. Excellent work. Moving on. The 2027 budget presentation, this is off a little bit, we're supposed to be looking at the more full package here, we're gonna focus more on capital right now. I'm not 100% clear the reason, the visual side of it, but, we have some brief Q&A, goals, so for now, capital, I believe, is the primary goal.
That is correct, we're going to, these are just saying more. So what it is, it's certainly, the budget you see, see and over and the finalized, whatever, it can be a shell of it. This is, these are our needs, they're what identify what our needs are, all of our needs. And eventually we're gonna go sit down with the budget team, and the company executive, and they decide, how much money are we gonna spend? How much money we're spending for the year, and then prioritize. Okay, what do we need this year? What do we need right now? And we ask for what we have right now. The company executive approves that, and he sends that forward. The rest of the stuff that either is approved by you guys or is approved by the company executive, all that goes back the next year or the year after that, and so on and so on. But this is what our asks are, and eventually we'll further down the road. The operation blood race is there. CDs right now, they're really going to be similar to change the operation, but so really focusing on this. These asks are really pushing this side of the overhead. And so we started with, I guess, the slideshow, and we broke this up into sections right now. So this is the equipment section, what we have. And the trees that are really down actually work how she made this PowerPoint presentation. She used all the aspects. So it's really down through real hard and real late to get this done. So this is what we have, and first thing for the capital, the equipment, we're asking for a total of $4,105,000. That includes everything that you're seeing on this page. And what it is, we first one is the three stand-up trucks, the plows, wings, salter, and a brine system. That's totaling $1.275 million for the three trucks. What we're trying to do is get in a 12-year cycle for because the Bureau of Highway Maintenance, that's what they recommend for that. 6 years is the depreciation on a truck. We can keep it longer than that. Ideally, we want to keep longer than that because you start creating more revenue. You can start charging yourself for that equipment. After that, that 12 years is when it starts to depreciation. All and gone by that, we start putting more work into that piece of equipment, and you're no longer making money on it. She sent me give me an example of one of the trucks that we have. New was around $30,000, and this year we put almost $20,000, $18,000 into that. And so it's at that point, we really don't want to be putting $18,000. And that's just one shot. Think about how much money we put there. So that's what we're trying to do is get a cycle so we can continue to make revenue off of our fleet. So that's 3 trucks with a 12-year cycle, and that's 1.75. Sure. We're going to be looking for a skidler, a skidler track, $135,000. The one that we're replacing is our max stuff. And so you're getting a lot of age out of that. We also have a backhoe for $175,000. The one we're replacing is the 1996. And then 6 trucks, 6 one-ton trucks for $500. Those trucks are sitting around at $80,000 apiece. These are going to be called big trucks. These are going to be basically one-ton dumps. Is what that is. For 6 of those, right now, 17 of our digital equipment, 17 of our trucks are 10 years old, 10 years old or older. So we're trying to improve that fleet going forward. Actually, I think that's one of the trucks. Right, so that's what we're trying to avoid. We have a wheel loader for $325,000, and one that we're replacing. Don't get worn down pretty. But one of the main reasons we use wheel loaders for is salt. Is that for salt? That's a lot of wear and tear on anything metal. For give you an example, one of the things that we haven't even replaced is those. We said a little longer down than enough. They wear down quickly when it's all a few years in it. And so we just have those now we run. We want to get replace our doors. So right now so we want to end up getting our own doors. These other needs that we have. Silver truck with a crane. That's ours right now. It's 1993. The silver truck we have. That is the mechanic. That's what goes out there out in the field. We have a plow breakdown. The silver truck goes and helps that plow. It's got a crane on top of it, and what do they have? With a $9 freight on that plow. There's no other way you're getting that plow off of it. So that's what we're asking. Forklifts, I believe it's 2 forklifts for $30,000. The one we have is 2017. And then Econ head is sort of bulk. Those are very expensive. When we run them on both of the spray. And what we use at Econ head is basically they go down the front of the skid, so we want a lot of Econ head. If pulverized, then you have a buck and you have a brush. So most of what we use on is safe mangoes, but using that. And whenever you saw on Piper 36 a couple of years ago, we were out there for months on that Econ head. And basically what stops it is there's the state has a level. There's a rule, I think it's after. Maybe you go to that. You can figure out So, that's the first slide, we'll move on to the next. Any questions on that slide?
What is this, is this directly last capital plans? Is this comparable or state reps?
No, we have a similar apps, and then what happens is basically it's further down and, you know, we realize how much funding we have, and someone will say, you're not gonna have 6 trucks, you know, what do you need? They might need 3 trucks, and they, well, still not enough money, all right, 2 trucks. And then we look for 3 plows, and then say, I'll give you 2. And then they say, what do you want more? Do you want the wheel loader, or do you want the service tank? They're out there with one of each. Because that when we're having a lot of problems. And sure, we're gonna be having wheel loader. Bring, you know, say that, you know, we're number 2,000 wheel loader, but we'll just keep it. And so that's, what do we, you know, what do we end up with being a fish out of water? Figures, what it is. Last year, I believe, we got a yeah.
That's another record.
It's Chairman. I like what I'm seeing so far. First of all, I like the pictures. But, you know, there's a lot of ways to get a lot of practice. That's, it's just all to best inform, say whatever budget committees you have that's early on, and please go a lot further and go forward. You said a lot of things in the meeting today. Summarize that somehow, anything right in your picture, but the way I see it is similar to the road conversation. We have all these equipment assets. Every one of them has a useful life. And you can identify how many you have in the fleet that are non-useful life. And then identify but the 8 is the ones to be replaced. Because I think during the last couple of processes, and even today, many supervisors don't know that we still have opt-out trucks for themselves. I think they don't know that we still have, that we have trucks that are well beyond the 12-year useful life. And that way, if they want to come into the budget, that's fine, but if we're doing it knowingly using equipment that's well beyond its useful life. So they see we won't give you 2, we'll give you 1 plow. Well, that's fine, but just know that these other 2 are still beyond their useful life. And we're on borrowed, essentially we're on borrowed time with all this stuff, and we're not replacing that life. So it's not saving any money, it's just deferring that expense. So if we want to plan it immediately going forward, or do we want to react to it in emergency and have to buy it at a time it might not be the time to buy it? Usually purchases are big, and you get better deals if you have more time to plan it out. The wait time should also be that because you can't get a lot of this stuff overnight. I know the wait time for plows, we were like on a 2-year wait list. So even if you want to buy it or need it now, you can't get it. So then the board needs to know that, because you can't just pull a plow out of the air if one goes down. And we don't want to keep putting $2,000 into most of it. So I think the context would help that these aren't just kind of wish list, nice to have things, we like shiny for us, but it's, we literally have things that are almost older than thanks.
Yeah. There's shooting not to be. Over this year. We shooting. See our over. Next slide. This is 2027 capital request highway. We're in the first one. There's got a lot of that. Sorry, we got a Quantico dump truck, $300,000. We have one right now, we use that every single day. We can see that another one of the fleet. The safety, the snow blower attachment to the loader, that's basically a bridge Jackson intersection. So it's basically on the front end loader, the snow blower. Backling mower, you guys are probably going to be using 400 mowers, run 40 hours a week, sometimes 50 hours a week, sometimes 60 hours a week, except in the parks, because we have different staff working different days, so the mowers never shut off. An old mower for us, I mean, we have a tri-axle trailer for $60,000 in addition to a rollaway trailer. The same truck that we're looking for, that's from 2009. 2025 repair was $13,000 on that side. And then carpool trucks, 2 carpool trucks for $100,000. These are the trucks that they're replacing and then zoning right now. We kind of recently reviewed a lot of our trucks. The 2 trucks in zoning will end up putting up the trucks. Or hiring this is going to be parts of the truck to be going in, and then we'll replace the one for zoning. So there's one for zoning, and I actually can explain that. This is saying how the road be better. The construction site is not very bad, salt here as much, but then the last column. Any questions on that? Okay, the next slide is going to be capital front for highway buildings. This for this building right now. This is separate from those facilities. Public Works is always on their own buildings. It's part of it. And so Mike's going to have his own slide later. He's handled them. You have to show. We're seal entry doors for $17,000. That's basically the safety and security guard door that's across the side. Go over the outside. The upper roof at Ives Grove, that's going to be the roof for the admin building. That's $935,000. The lower roof for Ives Grove, that's over in the trunk bay. That's going to be $1.6 million. Crane for the welding shop is $50,000. The one that we have now is 1974. The boiler that I drove, they're about the same age as the building, they're $450,000. That's a separate act of what Mike's going to be asked the boiler for his. 2 air compressor replacement that I drove $80,000. The roof replacement at Rochester for $900,000. Heated storage window replacement, that's how that building can cost the parking lot. We're in the most of the fleet, not the plow, but the fleet is other than some of the that's $40,000. The fuel island replacement out there looking for above ground tanks that's $700,000. This is very old. I don't really need to work on that. I would say once a week. The next one we're looking at capital for highway infrastructure. These are going to be our roads. Okay, so this is going to be Highway B from North Line, North County Line, Highway 11, 1.1 miles, $600,000. Maple Road, there's some Honey Lake to FF, 1.9 miles. That's $1.2 million. We do have some funding for that. It's HMA only. That's Sunset 31. I don't know the exact. I don't know if the DOT is here. That's that funding for what we're going to do. For that. Then again, Maple Road again. Highway 20, Highway 83. That's 1.68 miles. And that's going to be $1.1 million. And we have some shed money for that. That's how we're basically with it. Sunset 31. And then Highway H from Highway C to Highway K. 1.37 miles, that's $1 million. We do have some. This is only 5.96 miles. Looking forward a total $1 million. That does not include the reimbursement. The only reason why we may not how much they're going to be There's somebody that was, say, a lot of that. One question on there, real quick.
Thanks, Chairman. Thank you,
Yeah,
Director.
we're excited there.
Just to confirm and clarify for what, B is the angry letter of stress, right? The one that we all kind of, PWP signed by citizens or so and all the pictures. Maple Road is also, I encourage any communities to just give it a try and try to make it along the stretch, maintain the speed over 45 miles an hour. The minimum for a lot of time highways. It's a good time. You use your own car. I like this 5 days.
And, you know, it's regular, this is some area, like you said, is your more acts, no, this is more acts. Once you do, you just get. Like I said earlier, some of these are on last year's, maybe was April, this is, yeah, whether they're proposed for the next. So that's.
But, possibly the, you want me to show the variance between what we have in 5 and 7 bus.
Sure, why this is separate from this. When I was making this, it always submitted was. And so, I normally have been a group for the previous years. So knowing that this may likely get caught already. Start making more of a real. The next year, we're gonna be going off of this, but this was already submitted.
There's more slides, there's 3, I tried to group them by different.
Correct,
It
correct.
wasn't on a lot of kind of. So the help probably have to put the shine projects, so Highway 80, Maple Road, Honey Lake, all shine projects, so that's 50%.
What is that acronym or whatever it is?
It's county highway improvement, it's part of the LRIP, so that's local road improvement program.
No, keep in mind that's not 50% total, sorry, that's 30% though.
Correct, HMA only.
So it's, yeah, I wouldn't just go about that project. Say, oh, it's $1 million project for you. No, if you spend $500 a day, then we're getting 200. So on the next slide, we're still under highway infrastructure. And we have a couple things on highway C. We have a highway C bridge, our real estate acquisition for $100,000. You guys know that's gonna be the home bridge or the culvert bridge real estate, the stone bridge that we're talking about. So there's a stone bridge that you start west. We can see the first major spring separated column. That's my real estate acquisition. We can take that out. And then highway C11 there, I guess, with that Beander Road, that's where it's at the sign. That's $200,000. And another, we see, usually 2 separate, we're asking separate funding types for the state. For that's Gander 45 design, so this, they're not the whole highway C, but a separate section. Highway C, they just want buttons of it. This is basically what they talk about, page 3. The limits. Next slide. And so we're still here on the infrastructure. We have a highway in Box Culvert, from State Trunk Highway 20. State Trunk Highway 20, that's $750,000. We're actually doing one of those right now to see that we have to start right there. Design events are specs for that. But this is going to mirror that basically. Mission control for a dam. That is going to be the water gates, and that is so we don't have to manually go out there every single time. Sometimes or every time they already have to manually go out there. This is going to be automated. So you have to do it at home. Cross culvert repair, just for basically various, some of these are gonna be more, just reoccurring things that we need, the cross culvert repair, 20. Asphalt repair, 250,000. Get a second net buckles, we need to go fix that now, that's not part of it. You move the second of the road for rain out, every single year from a walk out from the rain, every single year we have this happen, but that's what this money is. Is dedicated to. Breakwater management, $25,000, we have 2 breakwaters, North Breakwall and South Breakwall. They constantly take a lot of erosion, repeating, undermining, and that sort of stuff. Or sometimes it's just inspections that go out there. Engineering and testing, that's a lot of money that the engineering use for basically almost 70 years of design. We have a culvert there, we have, anything that happens, we have signals that go out, but that's what a lot of that money for a lot of places. Traffic engineering, that's the intersections, the signal that goes down. So it's separate pots, the engineering and testing, that might be, is usually for something that's used for. Traffic engineering, like signal, some of these signal we are over there. Full box. Our signals are very old, most of them are 30 years old. So they're outdated. So we're slowly getting away. Dam engineering, we have 7 dams. We have a nursing action plan there. We have intergates and micros. We have great variety, watch out for flood. And then we have highway safety improvement. Basically, what that goes is whenever development happens, there's something called all the what is it called? Traffic impact, TIA. And what that does, we make a solemn development comes in there, and what's going to be changed to that intersection? How much traffic is generated? Do we need to improve that intersection because of that traffic generated? Do we need to be a turn lane? Do we need to be a bypass? And so they'll come up with a TIA, and then we have to review it. Those TIAs are reviewed by, and so that's what that is for. It's more. Any questions on that slide? No? All right, next slide. And we have golf is the next one. Golf is an enterprise. This is all this is their capital apps. From the golf river. And so we have people over at the golf course who runs both ground play golf course and Ives Grove golf course. These are his activities asked for. It's a 3-club program. Golf park half of the routes. These are on almost every single one. So the chemical building, that's a new one. Basically looking for an impermeable surface. For that, you all the chemical deck, golf course, you fly out all day, the way it does. He doesn't want those unless there's equipment, an irrigation study for brown place. So we just got that moving and I grow. Unfortunately, brown lake is far behind. So this is basically a study to get things rolling for a study of what's going to cost the brown lake to get golf course, different amount of holes in the brown lake. Golf course where you over here. And then brown lake also the Silver Stripe parking lot improvement. It's a gravel parking lot. We this right now. We brought it up. Some of it is asphalt and very so right now we have over $1 million in the reserves, looking for about 300. What?
This enterprise fund is all self-supporting, so there's no ask that it's in the test.
Sure. They create their own reserves.
If they're far along with the service drive plans, they check with the city limits on that, but it's something like the city limits wants to continue a water and sewer services, but that ends up in sometimes. this property. Just so they don't need it in that area.
Thank you, just a question. Does Ives Grove still subsidize? Also, the, you say it again? Or is management of Brown's like, groups are revenue that we need up? We have to actually Ives Grove subsidizes. Brown's Lake to accept, is that true, or we make a profit on? So I know it's a lot better than it used to be, but.
I don't know, it's all in one pot, it's what part is. That's the only way you can distinguish what's from each report. I don't.
I'm gonna say this is all right, it's probably over the years, it has gotten a lot better as far as the amount of people using it. So that, yeah, it's a lot busier, and in fairness, all the golf courses. So I know they have seen a large upgrade in use at Brown's Lake, but for that, that's, I don't know what we want to do. Yeah, no, that's fine, I'm just curious, I'm see how to grow this. Jewel or county person. Her plans outside of this, to invest more into Brown's Lake future and other desires to maybe stay in the parking lot, because they're not going to raise some type of that. It's all there. It is. So maybe like, who the, that. Yeah, so we go to keep, over in the operates both of them, yes, each. Obviously, I need the busier, the bigger one, more this, but just over the years, it's to see the render, taking the capital request, and it's to see that, and then what is in Ives now. Again, right now, I think the company's looking at the irrigation stuff, replacing their irrigation system. And I think that's his number one. We is keeping their greens and their fairways up the farm. Keep them, they are looking at a better condition. I was after that, and probably go to the airport to the clubhouse. He hasn't mentioned anything about the parking lot right. Next slide. We have parks, capital park request. Dave, you want to do it? You want to keep going? Oh, great. Oh, all right. So every year we have some park savings, $75,000. We're asking for that again. We have a lot of parks, in the campgrounds, in the parking lot, and we have 20 parks. So there's always some paving. Tree replacement program, we're dive to the NOF and we'll export with this responsibility or accountability. Harbor Park, the sidewalk, busy jacking and filling, so we must have some under my see it again. That's a guess part of that's the sidewalk. There's anything on Evans Park Mountain Bike Trail and parking development. This, you've seen it probably the past 3 years inside there. It goes up a little bit easier because it's every year it's a little bit more expensive. We got a lot of requests for hiking trail. We had plugs requests specifically for Evans Park and the Shopper land. They're right here that side road. I think that's right around 80 acres we have out there. So we asked it every single year. I know there's more and more of that, they build that. Maybe this year, maybe it's not. Quarry Lake water quality and data plan is $25,000. Basically, they're looking, it must have been around 6 years we did in gallons. They're already starting to see gallons on that. I think they're changing as there is new type of treatment that they have that lasts longer. This is the company we reached out to, and this is not for treatment. This is just here that binary treatment. We would certainly go back to an Allen treatment, get another 5 6 years out of it, and we water, or we go down this road. This is something that we just bring to the board to see what they want. Your maintenance. Does something have to be happening this year? No. But if you're gonna have a study to see what's gonna be done, this study may take a year, it may take another couple of years before we, but there's even have this, have something to do with data, it's advisory to us, and say it costs $50, now that might get approved next year. It might not get approved the year after. It might take 3 years. Well, we carry that in our 5 years down the road, people stop using the board for a while. Because there's the water, you know. Bushnell additional parking lot, $250,000 for that. Is a, parking lot. It's a real big parking lot for that $250,000, but it will give you additional parking to start with. Expansion up there. Small boat basin pier restoration. So this is that. If you're familiar with the city, this is that pier that's over at that's 500 small location for that. The city has their boat launches there. So the city owns the boat launches, and unfortunately, we own the ground underneath the boat launches and the land around the boat launches, including this pier right here. This pier is it's a remnant of what used to be there. It's falling apart. It's very, very old. And we're going to take up the section that are along with this. And so basically, we're looking at the store what's there. Replace it for that food or not replace, but fix what we have there. Last year, we had a pretty big hole on some of the hot food there. And so that's what that asks for. And then we have the farm to the West Meadows, site improvement. We've been restoring that this year. We're not done restoring, but we're putting up $1 million. It's basically going to be a learning center for all the grade stuff. We're out high school and water hurry out there. Also, we're going to be looking to rent the house for revenue. And so it's going to be a mix at the building plus one house. We want to be finishing it off, make a little bit of next so we can lease that out and rent that out. Whether it's going to be wedding, or it's going to be party, or it's going to be if there's anything, and that venue that you want. It's a nice site that we have coming out there. We go out there, but it's already graded off right now. We go look out there. And it would be a real nice site. That's that for. And then we have Barnes improvement, $150,000 Barnes improvement. Any questions on this slide?
Last question.
Mr. Chairman, for the small boat basin pier restoration, I saw some people smiling when we talked about it. How is it that the county owns everything but the launch? And is there any way that would we be interested in owning the launch sites that we start the launch? We can help support that area. The work's going to be charged to the city. Some of the money maintain the piers because you have to use the piers if you use the launch, right? I mean, most people are instructing or not touching.
So they own the piers on the launch. This pier that we're talking is across the bay, a very small bay. Okay, I'm just a pier that goes along basically a concrete wall. What you're seeing in the picture is not what it looks like. Much more. We just open this off.
That's what it's called. So I didn't mean that it was.
So, given that, can we just take the pier out of that?
We tried. We put it back. Sam and I we learned very quickly in there. We did. Sensitive.
And he's doing us more.
Thank you. What you said about fishing this year, is it a safety net?
No, it's not a safety net. Because we're keeping what is structurally stable there. But as it starts to rot, it starts to break, start to rust, we start cleaning those out. Anything that's been a safe yet, right now to the adult harbor. So this what we have is still structurally sound, but every year we'll pull them stuff off. So basically, what the restoration, we're gonna feel basically the surface off and some of the metal is still good. But when you're some of the bolts, the actual framing in there, and then probably go with either treated wood or maybe go out there, something like that.
Definitely wish I could be here. Just want to say thank you for the initial part that I pushed off. Still out in the parking lot, that's how they do. Probably does as well. Or, just thank you for sharing the message and what's happening.
All right, next slide. We're still on parks, so this next slide, and this is going to be some more infrastructure stuff that we're going to be going in some more machinery. Like so, standards, campground, bathroom, showers, and restoration. We have a project going out there right now with water and sewer that we're going to be upgrading, and now we'll be looking to upgrade the bathroom and the shower. That's one of our campgrounds out there that we did. That's our big one. Standards is one that we're trying to slowly start including in there. But that is usually both out for your standards. One is really starting improving a lot of things. Like our bathroom restoration, is your old bathroom, we are keeping more updated and nice. Flip side maintenance, building heater replacement here. So that flip side is across the street from the flip side, there's a maintenance building out there. The heater down inside, it's basically one of those little weak heaters, they mount on the wall, but they go, like I see, there's two of them in there. Riverbend Pavilion updates. This is Riverbend we own when we got right inside that we'll that have with them. It allows them to act for up to $15,000 in infrastructure updates. They had a pavilion that is basically rotting away. Just updated, $15,000 itself is going to do it. Let's say some other either way, in the contract that gives them the ability to ask for up to $15,000. So that's what that is. Utility carts, golf carts, we use those a lot, $16,000, and a pull behind blower. That's something that our park guys have been asking for a while. It's basically a blower that pulls behind. So this is harder to truck. We talk about the parking lot, a lot of behind the drivers, will be full.
Sure. So I know I've said a lot already tonight, but I'll say it again. For all of these, right, they're getting what you say useful life of the asset is, or what you define the depreciation, it's several years, and then current age of the asset. Seeing this, yeah, I appreciate you want to see the picture, but some of the stuff, just I'm saying the way it's presented, and basically, renovations and replacement just sounds like it's stuff that we just want to replace, just if we want to do stuff, or we just want to, restore that. I think if we can put more
Age Victor.
yeah, more of the accounting and financial math behind it, so that everyone knows the eyes wide open what we're getting into. Like, say that our bathroom, you said the useful life of the bathroom is 1 year, and you're saying, oh, it's last remodel or built in whatever 1961, and it's 30 years or whatever, how 60 years old. Do the math. Don't say the building, and say like, we expect the useful life is 30 years, and it's useful life is 20, and it's 40 years. And see that would help. How do you come to be useful life?
Similar to what we do before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the way I like to think about all of this. And presidents who, after he was elected, stood out in the White House lawn and said, because he owns a lot of golf courses, he said, you know, grass has an expected useful life of about 25 years. You replace all the grass in the White House lawn. So, for example. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Finish here.
I'll just see the, restoration, sure, so, you want to move and all that. It's, pretty. So, favor that, but I do agree with the. Yeah, all works. Facilities that get. Elevators. Next slide. Now I'm gonna hand this mic off to Mike Alzega. So these are more common wide, so we can test.
The first two on the list I cannot speak to as much as I would like to. I know the jail dental suite is a request from the sheriff's department to add a dental suite in, what now is the break room in the law enforcement center. They want to do minor dentistry in there, for some of the inmates. The AV request is from the clerk boards to update 3 of the courtrooms. We are currently doing 3 as of now, and I know they want to continue that and ask for funding to do 3 more. The boiler replacement at the courthouse, we are asking for $1.8 million. These are steam boilers, approximately 25 years old. They currently, 3 out of the 4 of them leak. They produce steam to heat or turn that into what's called hot process water that goes to all of our air handlers, all of our unit heaters throughout the jail and the receiving courthouse. They also produce domestic hot water for the courthouse and the jail. Dennis Cornwood partial roof replacement. This is ask of $650,000 to replace continue on our ongoing roof replacement. We have Garland. They are a roofing consultant and they basically go through all county buildings every year and take a look at them, tell us what our priorities are, and kind of go from there to see what we should be doing first. The LED lighting replacement, this is an ongoing county project to replace existing light fixtures with more energy efficient functional light fixtures. The LEC is 100% complete. The courthouse is probably 95% complete. There's 2 courtrooms left to do. We are waiting for justifications this year to finish those. We are currently on at the Dennis Cornwood Center, and we have started on the 3rd floor. We will continue going as long as funding allows to complete it. HVAC and electrical upgrades. This is an ask of $300,000. This request is being made to keep the county's HVAC and electrical system updated and good working condition. Flooring replacement is an ask for $250,000 just to basically replace our flooring out of our floors, especially in the courthouse and in the law enforcement center. The carpeting is old, outdated, and we would like to replace that with probably carpet squares or LPT. The cast iron replacement, this request is of $200,000. is to replace existing cast iron sanitary drain piping serving areas of the Racine County Jail. In the last couple of years, we've had a lot of instances where we've had cracked pipes, and they have, unfortunately, a lot of that piping is ran over courtrooms and judge chambers. And we've been trying, replacing as we can, sections here and there, but I think a lot of it is time that we have to replace complete sections. Courthouse exterior washing, we are currently replacing all the windows in the courthouse, and there are areas of the courthouse that have the black substance on it. And I think we're asking that 200,000 to just have it washed and make it look a little bit nicer. We've heard a lot of people talk that it looks so good. Courthouse fire panel replacement, this is a partial ask of 150,000. We received funds last year. This is the remaining amount of money that we need to complete. The SC Johnson Aquatic Center, we are asking about 150,000. This presently being made just to keep the pumps and all the equipment and parts of the buildings updated and in good working order. Generator maintenance, this is an ask of $75,000 to just keep our 12 generators throughout the county in good working condition. Tuck pointing is kind of an ongoing thing throughout the county. Many of our buildings with masonry, we're asking 50,000 to just maintain various masonry at various county buildings. Any questions?
Right, Michelle. Thank you, sir. You certainly share that with me. What do you currently?
As of right now, there is no dentistry done this year.
That said, then are we able to pull things out of your presentation, storage now, or is this just a more again informational? Or you know, let's try to get that. This is an informational. This has to go around. Then you might pull it out yourself, then you will submit it, but you guys determine that.
I will say this, there's no action on the level. It's easy to verify how fluid. It's a communication. You can speak to the executive on this, so there's a bunch of things that both these communities have to make there. These other items.
Sure.
Otherwise, it's not like, I think that our communication to solve the executive.
I could just say one thing on that. I was involved a little bit with this, just looking at this project and what ends facility could help out with this. I do believe that we do have some rental inmates from Milwaukee, and they are required to get a certain amount of dentistry done, so they are now being brought off site.
Next then is the CJ Aquatic Center, $30,000. Is the Aquatic Center currently producing revenue? I don't know what those year-end numbers are. We're still in the middle of the season. Last year, I believe we lost around 250. This year, I don't know what we are. Summer, right? We'll say September. So here, this is not through your budget. What is the longevity, pretty much, very a lot of it. How much time is left for?
You know, that's hard to say with, you know, with all the amount of pumps that are in there. That's one of the main things we worry about. Our staff ourselves maintains those every day. We send one of our members over there for about 3 hours a day just to keep the filters clean, pumps greased. Every year, at the end of the year, we winterize that whole, all the pumps. Startup at the beginning of the year is very difficult, takes us a lot of time, so the pump impellers sitting all winter, they just seize up, we end up pulling almost every pump apart. You know, pulling this, impellers apart, greasing them, and putting them all back together. To say how long they're gonna last, that's hard to say.
So these are being replaced and saying it's. Would you still do that, whatever we call part? Can't do age, I do that.
I think it's just due to age. One of the big costs I see coming is all those red shades. They are in very bad shape. We got kind of a ballpark price to replace them, and we'll let these out.
And so we learned this lesson, if you can be steep and generous. Donations to the community to fund things like this, you can have a place where for years, so I can struggle with see what we got to struggle, right? Pushing on the world. Last thing, courthouse wash sheet. This obviously was a prior project that was approved. Some painful things were put out previously. Are you going to use the previous bids or are you going to set this up a bid again?
We would set that out a bit again.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Move on to fire.
Thanks, Chairman. Thanks, Mike. I guess my answer to you would be the same with all the rest, right? I think it's better on me and the board of these projects and try to figure out how to prioritize that. If you could try to include the exactly useful life, all these things in the current utility assets, kind of know is it like 1 year down useful life, or it's, I don't know. I think you said boilers are very kind of control, but you know, going back to a lot of these at all. Maybe just a little more detail, like they buy something on 50, maybe it is for pumps, so that's the problem. Or maybe just say it's the pumps and how the pumps are and everything else. And then specifically to the aquatic center, is there anything like learned or borrowed from the Burlington Aquatic Center that was built around the same time? Similar in structure, or not? Or the city of Burlington Aquatic Center does rely on third party 501c provider, and we have 501c also do fundraising and receive community donations. So part of the deal for the city of Burlington vessel is the 501c fundraising fund of $12 million. Without enough income, they earnings on that portfolio pay for these necessary ongoing things. It's all new in year 1, but then we start thinking out how old it is. Once it starts in year 5, and 5 and 7 and 10, it's not new anymore, right? And the sun shades need replacing, or the pumps need replacing, and pretty soon the free amenities are going to the max. It's possible. So I know one wasn't set up initially, but is there anything that we can do with these kind of executive relations? If the people that care about the aquatic center the most are willing to invest their own time into it, I know the county took the gift, and part of it is we have to maintain it, but I don't think it means we have to maintain all of it. So maybe, maybe there's opportunities to get other funding to because honestly, besides the maintenance, there could be reinvestment in it to just upgrade the amenities so that it's relevant. It's like I think in time I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago near Great America. Like every year, Great America is creating new fashion because you got to keep the relevance of people. Once you've gone every ride, you're never getting caught. So I don't know what can be done there. So it's very kind of that's like yes.
Well, what I would like to say is we had constraints that we had to operate in, and as a staff, there's two separate items here, and that one, I'd like to see this I agree with everything you're saying, but as part of the budget discussion right now, that's a whole separate item. And I agree with everything you're saying, that most of us have talked about that in your meetings. You'll be center. But for our purposes right now, I agree with you, but let's look at, looking at the reasons we have, which are activated by centers, like certain perception, but I do agree. Yeah, that's. Oh, that's.
This is one last question, like, this, earlier this time, you're talking about making Harris facility, local Jersey courthouse. I know in the past, there have been conversations about trying to move operations out here to Ives. I just don't want us to have you going on. There's plans taking place, conversation taking place, to either go with new structure or operations that we just saw money. Does that make sense, or? Yeah, I agree. Right now, the this is a pass on right now. We're not for that happening. So from the staff point of view, we still have to, right, we don't know. And reset.
That's horrible.
There's nothing really exciting or sexy about these apples. And I say it that way because those are generally the topics that most people. These don't talk about dump trucks and plant loaders, boilers. There's nothing really interesting about that general public. The problem is about any of that stuff. We're not going to have benefits. Enjoying like right now. And the reason I'm saying that is because something Supervisor Prescott said earlier, Supervisor Wishaw also mentioned. Our ability to share what the costs are of maintaining this dilapidated equipment, I think is essential part of what it is we're talking about right now. When we talk about, and I'll make notes on it, that we're spending $20,000 a year to repair something, that's going to cost us $100,000. Well, then chances are we should buy it, but now we've got another excellent use. So when you're presenting this, it's being discussed. I know there's preconceived notion already that people can say this is how much we're going to get worse, this is how much we're going to give resources. I'm encouraging, and I think the board here to support this process. Encouraging that you do have some of those additional bottom points that are, whether it's duration of the product or the lifespan, whether it's the amount of calls spending to maintain and operating, or for that matter, anything else to say, because in and of themselves, there's nothing that's really exciting on talking about lawn cutters and homes. This is, in Franklin County, we're proud of our successes when it comes to human resources, services development, our sheriff's department, all that stuff. I think we have to, this board, we have to be able to be ready to fight for these items that frankly fall off the radar screen. But we're asking you that during this presentation period, that we get that information so we can help do that. That's all I'm going to say. Thanks a lot.
Before we move on to that. We'll move on. Oh. I want to say this, that is really like county, we can full up, $3 million next year. Next year, their capital. $114 million, $585,000. $268,000. Our ass and one, at one year. So you understand, obviously, this request, this is where we can do. Now we have to understand what is important to us, important, we have constituents. And really try to not be those items. Well said. Yeah.
Sorry,
We took a lot of it, and it was good things.
my humble apology.
Supervisor.
Yeah, and I think people that would have done something we're on the same page, that looks strong, trying to advocate for. So this is here, so that's really encouraging. I'm looking forward to the accuracy of this, hope that the council also. So, yeah. You already set up with your, so it's very,
I just wanted to say, thank you, Michael. You have an excellent addition through new now, Mr. Elzinga. And he's demonstrated an understanding of ability. Just excellent to you.
Thank you. I just need to work on my speaking a little bit.
You did fine. You're well.
Thank you.
Well, with that, if there are other questions, comments, or meeting with staff, we've exhausted our agenda. And our referrals. So the next item would be the next public work facilities meeting is Thursday, August 13th, 5 p.m. Unless the big version comes up, but I want to be there. And then we will do the true. Motion. Second. All those in favor?